The picture that has been going viral ahead of the Saba Day is that of Paul Mwite, Kenneth Matiba, James Orengo, Martin Shikuku, among others. And when you look at that picture, you'll agree with me that most of those who championed for the second liberation are no more. They've gone to rest. And perhaps those who are remaining are people like Gitobu Imanyara, Raila Odinga, Anyang' Nyong'o, James, Orengo, Paul Mwite, among many others. But a time has come when history is judging our leaders, because leaders keep on changing goalposts and they shift what they believe in. So the media went ahead and they have contacted leaders who once believed in democracy. Others have remained steadfast and they still reaffirm their position. Others have decided to change positions. Now, Kenyans have been trying to juxtapose the two statements that were made by James Orengo and Raila Odinga. And they have made certain conclusions because people have really looked at this tweet from James Orengo that is now very popular, that the dream of Saba was enshrined in Katiba 2010. Before the ink dried, it was turned on its head and every pillar of it weakened. Everything has not been spared, including now the separation of church and state. So the struggle must continue. Mwakenya, Saba, Gen Z, on and on. And Orengo seems to agree that aluta continua, that we cannot stop. And when you listen and read the mind of James Orengo, you will agree with you that he's been very consistent. He's one who opposed the handshake. Of course, the last time he was in State House, people really read mischief. There were questions whether he was really coerced into doing it. But when your blood is made of iron and you are made to struggle and champion for democracy, then sometimes it's difficult to keep quiet in the midst of this storm. So Rengo has made it very clear that the struggle must continue, and he mentions Mwakenya, Saba, Gen Z. So in a way, as Gen Z's head for Saba, they have Rengo's support. Now, another person that has been there before is Raila Odinga. Raila is saying, if you want to remember Saba Day, then let's go to Kamkunji. If you are talking about protesting, I mean, this question is like, where is the protest going to start and go? Let's meet at Kamkunji and pass a resolution. I have a problem with that. Which resolution does Raila want us to pass? And after passing it, what next? He's part of the government that Gen Zs are protesting against. So Kenyans have been trying to juxtapose the two statements, and they come to a conclusion that Raila has lost his quest for justice. And they're saying that Raila might have sacrificed that quest at the altar of self-aggrandizement. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to understand just how deep the sentiments of James Orengo are, then I want you to listen. Apart from Raila, who believes that if you want to celebrate Saba, then you need to follow him to Kamkunji. I want you to listen to Oburu Odinga and the ghetto president, Gaucho. Those are foot soldiers of Raila Odinga, and whatever they say, you can take it to the bank that that is Raila's feeling. Kindly take a look.
Vile mnajua ni Gaucho ghetto president, mwanasoja wa Raila Amolo Odinga. Iko jambo ambalo nataka kuongelelea kuhusu ile first history ya Saba ambayo inasemekana tutakuwa na Sabasaba kesho. Eti Gen Z wameita Sabasaba. Hao vijana wa Gen Z wanasema ya kwamba hao waendi na system ya zamani na wataki historia ya zamani, na mara mingi wananiambianga mimi napendanga historia kama baba yangu Raila Odinga. Sabasaba hii si generation ya Gen Z. Sabasaba ilianzwa na kina Oginga Odinga, Matiba, Raila Odinga, Orengo, Anyona, Martin Skuku, Musindo Muliro wakipigania mambo ya multipartyism. Sabasaba ni kitu 1990 ama 1997 huko. So in fact ilikuwa 1990 huko, 1992, 1991, 1992 ndio story ya Sabasaba ilikuwa. So leo hii generation wanatuambia ya kwamba hao wachezi ngoma ya watu wengine, hao watumiki na politician yoyote, na leo wameleta story ya Sabasaba. So bado tunaenda na ile system ya zamani, ama Gen Z wangetuambia kwamba wangeleta hata kama ingekuwa ni moja moja ama mbili mbili ama sufuri sufuri, tungesema yenyewe Gen Z wamekuja na system yao mpya. Lakini hizi vitu zote wanafanya leo, wakina Orengo walifanya miaka za nyuma, akina Rudinga walifanya miaka za nyuma, akina Martin Skuku walifanya mambo za nyuma. Na mimi nataka kusema ya kwamba hii story ya Gen Z iko wale za zingine wajijui ya kwamba wanatumika bila kujua ya kwamba hao wanatumika, na wanapigania tena politicians wengine. Walisema last time ya kwamba Raila Odinga alitumia hao watu wake wakaingia kwa serikali. Hao pia leo Gachagua wanatumia hii jina ya Gen Z ili atafute vile watapata power. Wanatumika na Kalonzo, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua, Kioni, Matiang'i. Wanatumia hiyo jina ya Gen Z kuwave support yao, kufanyia hao repair. Ni kama gari lisharibika, wanafanyiwa repair na jina ya vijana.
This country belongs to all of us as Kenyans. We don't want to destroy our country. Me, I support Gen Z because I'm also Gen Z. But I would like to advise that the political class does not seize the agenda of the Gen Z for their own purpose. Let the Gen Z put their agenda up, and then let us try our best to solve the issues which are being raised by our young people.
So definitely Orengo has gone against the position of the party and the position of Raila. He has defied orders. But one thing I must say, because I want us to look at the weight and the strength of Orengo's statement. One thing that we must agree is that leaders must accept that sometimes they've just done enough and they have to give space to others to continue. This idea of thinking that without you certain things cannot move on is unacceptable. Whether it is in the country here, that you believe that without you the government cannot run. Whether it is in the opposition, you believe that without you people cannot protest against some mischievous policies from the government. No. So what exactly is disturbing Ruto and Raila Odinga, the broad-based government? Because I know after that tweet, people like Sama Tande, people like Robert Alai, people like the chairman, the man I call the chairman of the broad-based government, lawyer Pondo Kaluma, I know they are now disturbed. But why do you believe that they're disturbed? Why do we think that they're disturbed after Orengo's statement? Because Orengo has always held a contrary position, even before Raila joined hands with William Ruto. And I want to tell you this. Number one, Orengo has given weight and the green light to Gen Z's protest, because in his statement he says the struggle must continue, and he has mentioned Gen Z's there, Mwakenya, and all that, Saba. So So definitely, Orengo still reaffirms his position against that of the party, against that of certain Luo leaders, that indeed the struggle continues. So Gen Zs will be very happy even as they head, and any other person who supports the procession, that indeed Orengo has given them the green light. And why is it important? People like James Orengo were there in 1997. That's why the pictures are going around. Gaucho there says that, Gen Zs must look for something else. They look for maybe Nane Nane, ama Tatu Tatu, because this was started by people like James Orengo. And Orengo is here, alive. Gaucho was not there. But Orengo says, a luta continua. The struggle must continue. So this gives them the direction, the weight, the impetus. Inawapatia nguvu ya kwamba it is their turn. So that we don't have leaders who have struggled for independence and they now want to gag others. Ya kwamba kwa sababu sisi tulipigania uhuru, we don't want any other person to do it. All they care about is that, by the way, when Raila was taking people to the streets, he believed in that cause. Now that others are going to the streets, he believes that there are certain politicians who are using Gen Zs. Yet we saw youth support Raila and they were killed on the street. So Orengo has given them the weight, and this is very important to them. It disturbs the broad-based government. Number two, Orengo exposes the hypocrisy in ODM. And I'm saying this because ODM has always stood for the right of the people. But ODM got into the government, wanaongea mbaya. They do not want anyone who, kind of questions the government. If you listen to Junaid Mohammed, if you listen to Pondo Kaluma, if you listen to the ODM party, including people like Joho, then you'll realize that they have lost that quest, they have lost that touch. Raila Odinga himself is now supporting changing, certain arms of the constitution that guides demonstration, something that he was really against when he was leading demonstration. So it really exposes the hypocrisy in ODM, in Raila, and all those leaders who told us that they champion for democracy. People like Kuburu are still questioning. They're saying, oh, he's a Gen Z, he supports, and he tells us that, Gen Z should tell us what they want. How many times must Gen Z speak? Are they forgetting that they have a 10-point agenda, which is just, it's just a piece of paper that they signed in KCC, sometimes. So that has been exposed. Orengo supports opposition, he supports Gachagua, he supports those who are supporting the demonstrations. Because right now people have switched camps. Raila has gone to bed with the government. Now Gachagua is the face of the opposition because he speaks, he articulates the predicaments of Kenyans. He supports the demonstrations. He supports Saba. Remember the other day they declared that 25th June was going to be a day to remember Gen Zs who died in protest. So they really support this. So James Orengo, in a way, is simply saying that I support Rigathi Gachagua. I support the opposition on this. He could be, not supporting them in other areas, but on this, he believes that the opposition is the face of change, not the face of the status quo. So it disturbs them that Orengo still speaks out, and Kenyans listen to him. It also proves that Orengo is just being coerced. Remember how Opio and I and Oburu Odinga forcefully arranged for a meeting for the Siaya leadership to go to State House, something that I'm against. I know they say resources are scarce, so you must go and worship. You must go and kneel down as if someone is God and you worship them. to give you a token of development. Yet Orengo is saying that we are Kenyans and we pay taxes. So anytime you are given a position, oh, nasikia sahi pesa inalala Homa Bay. But Orengo says, okay, it is your right. You are a Kenyan. And Orengo is still asking, surely, watu wetu walikufa. Why do we, have to join hands? He's being forced to support William Ruto. He's against this, but the forces of darkness are against it. Because I have a feeling that Orengo might not be given a direct ticket anymore. Tuju is there. Engineer Gumbo is there. And Orengo seems to have decided that he's ready to pay the price. So, ladies and gentlemen, the statement of Orengo becomes a thorn in the flesh to the Ruto administration, to ODM. It exposes them, and to the entire broad-based government. Many people, the government thought that by intimidating Orengo, when he was in sit-out, some people were saying that he was bribed, he was compromised. But I think when it comes to matters, constitution and freedom and the rule of law and respect to human rights, I think there's a limit to which Orengo can take. So, ladies and gentlemen, Gen Zs are going there with the support of James Orengo, with the support of the pioneers of Saba. So, we're waiting to see what is going to happen, because William Ruto has lost touch. He has nothing to tell Gen Zs except the power of the bullet. I only hope that this time round the police is going to exercise restraint. If there is anyone who's using our youths to vandalize property, please let us refrain, even if it is the government, because I have a feeling it is the government that is doing that. As for Raila Odinga, let his supporters follow him to Kamkunji, because they are fighting for two different things. Raila is fighting to ensure that Ruto remains in power, and I believe he wants Ruto to be re-elected. But the other side is fighting, and they're saying that Ruto must go. He's a one-term. So Raila cannot invite all Kenyans to go to Kamkunji when they are fighting against bad leadership and bad regime. These are two competitive forces. One, I believe Raila stands for the status quo, yet Orengo stands for change that people are really yearning for. And I know one day it will come, like Orengo says, the fight must continue.